first time we had to do it ourselves. Don't piss me off. Okay. Oh my gosh, don't piss me off again. Oh. Oh, there's the goo. I fucking hate the goo. Oh, there's a smell. Oops. Okay. Done. Bitcha in the mouth. Det kan vi ta sammen i sånn. Okay. I'll just do. Oops. I'm also going to put in all-round seasoning that I'm trying to use up. Ooh, that'll do. I actually don't love these bags because they do rip and they feel really flimsy, but trust the process, I guess. Done. And then dinner. It's gonna be the other courgette. Mixed herbs. Bit of all-round seasoning on me as well. Oh my god. a little bit of garlic. Hi. Hello? Okay, my neighbor just came out in his boxers to argue with the Amazon delivery guy. So never mind. All these tomatoes. Wash the baby. I'll just throw a few in the hole up here. The one's gonna go in the hole. Onion. Well, shallot. Beautiful. All the colors. Okay. This is going in. This is prepped for later. And now I'm gonna have scone. What? No. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty gorge. And my lunches. Chicken. Good night. I look really weird. This is the routine. Wash your hands. Dry them. had a shower earlier, so I washed my face in the shower, and I used this. Ew. Dermalogica. It's a powder, and you mix it with water and it becomes an exfoliant. Or if I'm not using that, I'm trying to use up this, which I do really enjoy. It was just like in a travel gift set. But this is also, it does the same thing, which I got in Korea. And the smell of this reminds me of a body wash I bought from And Other Stories on one of like the first trips I made to London, like by myself in 2014. Love that association for me. Anyway, toner. I just got a cheap one from Primark. I don't give a fuck. Before that I was using my mum's, but it's Clarins and I don't want to be taking a piss because it's expensive. Although, wait till you see this. I think that's all for now, but oh. You might say she's a shopping addict and a hoarder. You might say that. Anyway. You want it to look like someone has splooged in your hand. And then I'm gonna do oil. It looks crazy because it's at the window, it's cold, so, but it's fine. I got it for my birthday, so it's fine. It's fine. I got this dropper bottle specifically for traveling, and it didn't come in time for my holiday. There's always next holiday. Wow, this lighting looks like shit. Period. And then I'm gonna put something else on. Last step. I've been really enjoying this, and I feel like it's like halfway done already. Highly recommend. Why is there hair? Ew. This nasty hair. I can't see it. Okay. That's the routine. Not every day, to be honest. I do change it up. I also got this recently. I don't think I ever showed it. It's Bakuchiol Pore Jet with Bakuchiol and PDRN. because in the skin analysis I did in Korea, they recommended this for tightening up my pores. And then I didn't really know much about Bakuchiol. I knew about PDRN because that was major when we were in South Korea and in Japan. Everything was PDRN everywhere, which is salmon sperm for anti-aging. But Bakuchiol is basically baby retinol, and so it's like a less strong version of retinol, which I think works for me better because I've tried retinol and it actually physically hurt. Don't get me wrong, I can still feel this one tingling away, but it's much more manageable and it doesn't break me out into a giant red hive. So, that's the routine. I'm gonna try and go to, not to sleep, but I'm gonna read my book. I originally had this out on the Libby app, and then I ran out of time on it, and I was like, I guess I'll go on hold again. But it was going to potentially take 4 weeks, so then I had to look at physical library books to see if there was any available anywhere in Glasgow. And there happened to be one in Byres Road, Hillhead. So I picked it up the other day, and let's see how far along I am. Oh my god, I've read so much. I would say there's like 40%. Over 40%. Someone do some quick maths for me. I'm at 163 and there's 378 pages. So I've got 200 pages to go basically. Yeah. Not bad. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. But I keep falling asleep, so I'm gonna just try and read for an hour before bed and give myself that time. I've taken a little melatonin pill, hoping to drift off pretty nicely. I woke up feeling so shit this morning. I don't want to repeat that, so I want to have good sleep. Good night. Everyone pray for me that I get to work and they say it's too windy and we get sent home. Hello, this is editing Melissa right now. I'm just gonna give a voiceover of what's going on here. I was basically in the shittiest mood of my life and I decided to take control in one way or another by decluttering my basket that sits in my bedside drawer. So you can see me going through like some bullshit. This is like a key ring with a keychain that I've had since I was like 9. This is my ankle support from when I chipped a bit of bone in my ankle. Defo keeping that. Bottom of the pile. A little mirror that I think is from Avon that I just don't use because it's too heavy for my bag. A sleep bar, like a melting sleep bar, whatever, for massaging. A charging cable, who knows what the fuck that's for. A bit of packaging, of course. We have some coins. This was literally coins. I think this was literally Croatian currency, which isn't even a thing anymore because they've now switched to euros. So you can see me looking at it like, do I keep it? Do I not? I think I ended up throwing it in the bin like, I'm sorry, I don't need it. Some random plug, another charging cable that's for God knows what. This is all essentials, apparently. So then I used the little pouch that those coins were in and I just put lozenges and like tampons that somehow find their way everywhere. I think that was another charging cable. I'm not sure anymore. What was that? James? I don't know. I don't know what that was. I'm not gonna look. A crochet hook, essential, very essential. Some bepanthen, some tea tree oil, some eucalyptus oil, some hand cream that is literally empty. Why did I keep that? A pen that I don't like to use, but I'll just keep it anyway, whatever. Yeah, sure, clip it to the frame. Who cares? A measuring tape. I seem to accumulate a lot of measuring tapes, but they are handy because then someone needs me to measure something and I'm like, yeah, I've got a measuring tape. You can see me getting so pissed off at myself. A fucking hydrating sachet bin. Tiger balm, that's going in the bathroom. Milk thistle, that's going in the bathroom. Another charging cable. I think this is actually an aux cable, but like, why do I have so many? Foot patch from Japan, I decided to put in the bathroom. My vape, and I was so annoyed that I just decided to hit it, and it did calm me down. I don't know what that was. Another tampon, it's fine. A book that my brother gave me like a year ago, and I just thought it was funny that I'm literally pissed off and now I've got The Body Keeps the Score, like very fitting. The body was keeping the score. Some spot patches, my Kindle in its new cover, which I'm really excited about. Although, have I used my Kindle since I got the cover? No, I have not. But we'll get there. I have many, many books on there. Illegally downloaded, obviously. This is me rearranging stuff because I wasn't happy with it. Like, obviously, I'm never happy. Sleeping mask that I barely ever use, and wrist support this time instead of just an ankle support. This is for my carpal tunnel. Another little hit of the vape, a crochet project, some random yarn that I used for something, some lubricant, personal lubricant. Stay hydrated, inside and out. This is me contemplating my life and going through it. But there you go, that's it. All nice, and it looked worse before. This is it looking nice. And you need to believe that. And that's me turning off the vape. Enough of that. Anyway. Literally me right now. Excuse my messy hair. I just finished this book. You see that? it was really, really good. It starts off very mysterious and confusing, and then you're like, hold on, this chica knows what she's doing. Miss Violet, she knows what she's doing, okay? All these different threads are connected. Whoa, like, who would have thought that a book telling a story would weave different parts together? Who would have thought? Yeah, really, really interesting. I was confused until a certain point, and then after that point I was like, I understand. You don't understand how much I understand. But then I'm back to kind of being confused because I'm like, do I reread this to kind of get all of it, to make sense of it all? It's also like, it jumps from timeline to timeline to timeline to timeline. Like, the first chapter is Day of Disappearance, then it's like 60 years before disappearance, 6 months before disappearance, 3 days after disappearance, like all this stuff. And I'm just like, I would love to have it in a version where it starts from like if it's like an actual timeline from like the earliest date to the day of the disappearance and beyond. Okay, my fish cakes are ready. Highly recommend. Read it. It did take me a while, but once you get to like, I want to say once you get to like, even before that, page 150, you're in. So that's the 6th book I've read this year. Read it and weep. And have they got one for daughter? Have they got one for son? It was exactly like Saw. Good morning. I was actually in a really good mood, and then I went down to Thailand and the zip on my jacket just broke, and I can't zip it up ever again because the bit at the bottom, like the catcher bit, just snapped off and I didn't see it bounce off. So it's gone forever. That's fine. Letting go. Can't control it. I've been watching this guy on YouTube for a while called Annie Austin, and he talks about like kind of things you don't really notice in video games, like architecture or like the way things are laid out, like design choices, I guess. And one of his latest ones was like trying to find the oldest building in GTA 5, I want to say. I can't remember. I don't play video games like that, but I like learning about things in video games. Anyway, when he was talking about that one, he was looking at like all the design choices of buildings, and it's made me like see the design choices in the buildings around me. So I'm going to show you. So this is a building I walk past every day. I think it's connected to the subway. I think it's like their depot offices or something. I don't know. Because like you can see there's barbed wire or like those grills and stuff. But those like arches are because there's no beams inside. So that's to support the bricks. That's to support the walls. And then I noticed these anchor points as well, which he talked about in the video, which places this building between 1900 and 1910. And I could have just searched it. I could have just looked it up, like when was this building made. But it's cool that I have that knowledge now to see those signs, like see the anchor points and see the like arches with the multiple bricks, and know like, oh, that means something was built between 1900 and 1910, or I think even earlier. I think he said 1890. Maybe that was a different building he was talking about. Anyway, regardless, it's just nice to be able to like see these kinds of things, like as if you've like discovered it after walking past it like 15 million times. There was another video he did where he like looked at where all the power lines connected to on a video game map. I think it was still GTA. And then some of the power lines led to like, what are they called? Like a charging station, is that what it's called? Anyway, regardless, it's like a little empty, well, not empty, it's like a courtyard full of like these kind of pylons, I guess. And then I started noticing them when I would be like walking around, like in between buildings, like residential buildings. And it's just like, oh, that's because it's connected to power lines. I don't know, I think it's really nice to have things like that where you learn about something that you probably never even gave a fuck about, but like you start seeing it out in the world and you kind of make that mental link. Like once I read a book about a young boy who helped someone count cards during bridge, and I never knew anything about bridge because it's like not really a modern card game, and the rules are, from what the book was saying, are very complicated and like convoluted. But like I became aware of this card game called bridge, and then I think it was just a few weeks later I was in the south side and just walking, and then it's just a sign saying Bridge Club, and I was like, oh, like I knew objectively what bridge was before, but I never realized it was like what it was. Never understood it. I still don't really understand it, but like then I just like made that connection, like, oh, this is somewhere that some people go to play bridge. I don't know if that sounds stupid, but like it's just cool to have those little connections. And most of the time it is kind of silly like that, where like it's really hard to then explain to someone. Like if I had been walking with someone and seen that bridge club, if I had then been like, oh, I just read a book about bridge, they would just be like, I don't give a fuck, quite frankly. And that's so fair, but I think it's cool to have those connections just with yourself, to like, I don't know, it makes the world bigger. Anyway, I have had a bit of a week because my period started, so I've been emotional. And I was like, I knew my period was coming, but I was just like, it's too far off for this just to be hormonal. And then 2 days ago I had a really, really bad dream. Well, it wasn't bad, but like it made me feel bad. I woke up and I was just like devastatingly sad. Like I couldn't stop crying. And was literally like crying on this very walk to work for the first like 5 minutes, to the point where all the snot, was like backing into my throat because I was obviously walking, so I couldn't like breathe properly. So all the snot kept backing up into my throat, and I was setting off my gag reflex. I was literally retching and sobbing on this road on the way to work, crying to the Sundays. And I did have to just like step in and be like, what's going on here? All about a dream. And I had to like change it up to something a bit more cheerful. Very intense. What was the point of this? I guess just to say that I've been a bit up and down, and that I'm noticing design choices in buildings from over 100 years ago. That was a burp. I went to the cinema last night to see one battle after another with Gary, my bestie, and as a movie, it did its job. I was entertained, but as like a commentary on like leftist politics, it really annoyed me. I don't know. And I felt like a lot of the characters were very two-dimensional. That's my opinion. That's all. I don't have anything for dinner tonight, so I'm gonna go shopping after work, and I need to do laundry. And the thought of that is creating a pit of dread in my stomach. But at least it's sunny.